Hey, this is Bob from Holland, and this little video series is about when you feel the pressure of having to come up to the expectations of that one person in your working life, in your private life, maybe your lover, maybe your boss, right? Or maybe having to come up to the expectation of a group of people. Now, in the last video, I talked about rejection and approval of someone, that one person in your life, in your outside world. Now, in this video, I am going to talk about rejection as well, but a form of rejection that is way more important than being rejected from the outside world. That is being rejected by your inside world, rejecting yourself. I am going to explain what happens if indeed you feel the pressure of having to come up to the expectation of this one person. What happens is you are here. This person is expecting something, a result, and this result is right there. Now, if you feel this pressure, what you want to do is you want to move from here, the current situation, to there. Because as long as you have not reached the result, as long as you have not reached this result, you do not come up to his expectations. And there is the fear of you being rejected by this person. Your boss saying you are not worth the promotion. You are not even worth your job. Or your lover kicking you out of the house. Or this group of people not accepting you anymore. So when you feel that pressure, you feel the pressure of wanting to flee away from how it is right now and wanting to go to the desired result as fast as possible. Now, what also happens is that what you say to yourself on a very deep level, and this is not an aware conscious thing, this is a very unaware subconscious thing. What you say to yourself is, as long as I am here and as long as I am not at the point where I have reached the desired result, as long as I have not come up to expectations, I am not good enough. You reject yourself. I am not worth it. Now, maybe there is only one person or only one group of people expecting something from you once. Chances are, if this is your issue, there will be several people expecting several things from you. And you can imagine if this is so, and maybe if you have reached the desired result from one demand, from one person, there always will be another thing that you have to come up to, because there will always be expectations drawing you in like a magnet, and you will always have the feeling that you have to come up to expectations, and you will always be on your way. This will always give you stress, and you will always reject yourself. Rejecting yourself. This is how it is now. This is how it should be. This is the desired result. As long as I am not there, I reject myself. And if you feel pressure, if someone is demanding something from you, is expecting something from you, automatically, if there is pressure, then you are expecting something from yourself as well. Because if that would not be the case, you would not give a heck. You would say, well, you can expect something from me, but I don't care. But if you feel pressure, then you also put pressure on yourself. And you also expect things from yourself. And then indeed, you will reject yourself as long as you have not come up to expectation. Now, why? Why is self-rejection, I don't know if that's an English word, I just made it. Why is rejecting yourself not very smart? Because if you want to be unhappy and unsuccessful in anything, start rejecting yourself in this topic, and you will be you will do a very good job. Why is rejecting yourself not very smart at all? What happens? I will explain, and I will explain with this drawing. That's why I've got the drawing with me. Now, if this is the first video you see in this little video series and you have not seen the video before this one, I will do a little bit of explaining about this drawing, right? So, a long time ago, when you were not in this life, when you were not even an individual soul, as energy, you were part of what I call the greater intelligence. Now, in the greater intelligence, your life was very good. Your life was one big party, and there was 100% completeness, 100% inner peace. There was a perfect balance between male and female energy. Also, there was complete connection, a pure connection with all other energy, and I mean all other energy. And you could see this pure connection with all other energy also as unconditional love. So your time as energy inside the greater intelligence a long time ago, before you were a soul, was very good. But then it was time for a mission. It was time for your individual mission. So you were formed, and you became an individual soul. You got kicked out of the greater intelligence. You got separated from the greater intelligence. You became an individual soul. Right? Time for your mission, and at this moment you got kicked out, you were given your spiritual homework. Because you went from completeness to incompleteness. You went from total inner peace to tension because you got kicked out. You went from a perfect balance between male and female energy to an imbalance, to more male or more female energy. You went from a 100% pure connection all the time with all other energy to a lot more individuality and a lot less connection. And that meant when you got kicked out, there was a lot less unconditional love. You got kicked out, you became an individual soul, and there you were, individual soul, and you were given your first life. There you go. On Earth. You were given your first life on Earth, and you were given your second life, and third life, and fourth life, and you were given this life, because it's all about this life right now. Now, explanation. Why is rejecting yourself very stupid? And why should you really work on self-rejection? Why should you really work on not rejecting yourself anymore, although you are not conscious of it? If someone, if your boss, if in your life there are expectations, which there basically will always be, basically what you do not want to feel the pressure anymore, you do not want to feel the stress anymore, you do not want to have the bad feeling of this pressure of having to come up to expectations anymore. But there will be expectations. So what do you want? You do not want the bad things anymore coming with these expectations. But you do, what you do want is to effortlessly or more effortlessly be able to come up to expectation. Not always feeling this pressure, not always feeling this stress. Doing things that your boss asks, doing them effortlessly or more effortlessly. Huh? Doing them easier, getting the easier life in this issue, because this is an issue for you. Right? So, if you do want to come up to expectations, and there are these challenges, these expectations of you, then and you feel this pressure, then it's always the case that you do not yet have a clue how you are going to come up to expectation. You don't know how you're going to do it. And that's why you feel the pressure, because someone demands something from you. but you don't know how to do it. And you're not even sure if you will ever be able to do that. Yeah? Now, why is self-rejection the last thing you want to do when it comes to coming up to expectation effortlessly? Is because when you are being challenged, when there are questions, when someone wants something from you and you do not yet know how you're going to solve it, what you want is you want the best answers, the best solutions, the best insight. You want to be able to make a connection to the biggest creative source inside you. You want to be able to feel your real pure self. And this is your real pure self. Once you were part of the biggest creative source there ever has been and ever will be. And here, all the best answers are. The best answers, the best solutions are in the silence. The silence inside you, are inside you, inside your source, because this is your source. And you still are connected to this source, always. Only thing is, in your issues, in the things that hurt you, in the things in which you feel pressure, like this thing, you are not very well connected with this source, because you reject yourself, you push yourself away. You push away your real pure self. And that is exactly where the best answers are. That is exactly where the best solutions are. So, rejecting yourself is not very wise. Because if you want to come up to expectations effortlessly, you need to be able to connect to your real pure self. You need to be able to connect to the best answers and the best solutions and the biggest creative source that you have inside. And when you reject yourself, when you say from the beginning, only in the end I am good enough and only in the end I'm willing to connect to myself again, then there will be no good solutions and you will have to do a lot of thinking and pushing and pulling to actually come up to expectations. And every time you might just make it. But if you work on rejection, if you work on rejecting yourself, if you work on stopping to reject yourself, which is possible, then you will have access to your source. You will have access to your real pure self, and thereby will you have access to the best answers, to the best creative source, to the best solutions. And the better thing is, you don't have to go and look for them. They will come to you at the right moment. But this connection has to be open, has to be there. And if you reject yourself, this connection is not there. And you will have to do all the work by thinking up a solution. When the connection is there, you have a big data line, a big cable data line through which the best answers and solutions will come to you a lot more effortlessly. Yeah? So, having to come up to the expectations of other people, self-rejection, and why it's really important to work on this. I hope I explained this to you in a good way. My English is not perfect, far from perfect. It's not really important that you understand this completely with your logic mind. It is way more important that you understand it with your feeling. If it feels good, if you recognize yourself in what I say, then that means that it's very good for you. Because the only thing I do here is help you release the knowledge and the wisdom that you already have inside you. I tell you nothing new. I just touch upon the right knowledge and wisdom inside you by explaining these things, I hope, to the best of my ability. So if it feels good, but you do not yet completely understand what I mean, watch the video again, if that feels good. Because every time you watch the video or listen to an audio, I will touch upon the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And maybe you are really talented. Maybe you completely understand what I'm talking about. Very good as well. So that was this topic. I'll see you in the next video.